waters. Moving on to adoption of the agenda, the recommendation is that the agenda be approved as presented. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Coburn, Deputy Mayor Pringle. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. And I should have maybe mentioned before, Councillor Scholdice reached out earlier today. He was at work and was not able to get somebody to cover his shift, so I'll be here this evening. Does any member have a pecuniary interest to declare? Seeing none, you may declare at any time throughout the meeting if one should arise. Minutes of previous meetings, we have March 18th of 2026. Recommendation is that the minutes contained herein be adopted. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Winters, Councillor McComb. Is there any discussion? I'll call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Does any member wish to make an announcement? The only thing I can think we have coming up that should be announced would be Kemble Maple Fest, which is going to happen before our next meeting. So that is April 11th, starting at 8 in the morning. Anything else from anyone? Okay. Public hearings. Recommendation is that the council meeting be recessed to hold public hearings for zoning bylaw amendment application Z03-26 Brown. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor McComb. And so, moving on, this meeting has been called to consider zoning bylaw amendment application Z03-26 for property legally described as Plan 857, Part Lot 9, Registered Plan 16R 12113, Part 1, in the former township of Keppel. Madam Clerk, please advise the method by which notice of this public meeting was given.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Notice of this public meeting was given by ordinary mail to all property owners within 120 meters, 400 feet of the subject property by email to other prescribed bodies on February 23rd, 2026, posted at the subject property and posted on the Township of Georgian Bluffs website. If an agency or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Georgian Bluffs before the proposed zoning bylaw is adopted or passed, the agency or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the Township of Georgian Bluffs to the Ontario Land Tribunal. The agency or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the tribunal unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to add the agency or public body as a party.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Planner, would you please proceed with your review of the application?
Thank you. The purpose of this public hearing is to provide an opportunity for discussion regarding the proposed zoning bylaw amendment application Z0326, which proposes an amendment to the township's comprehensive zoning bylaw to amend an existing site-specific zone, RM1-97 zoning provision applicable to the subject lands. The current amendment seeks to permit the development of a total of 5 townhouse dwelling units, whereas the existing zoning allows for a maximum of 4 dwelling units on the property. No other relief to the zoning bylaw has been requested at this time. Subject lands are located in the community of Shallow Lake. They front onto Main Street, and they're just southeast Howe Drive and kind of located at the western edge of the village. And the site is currently vacant and was created through a severance in 2023. As the clerk mentioned, notice of the application was provided to all agencies and property owners within 120 meters of the property, and notice was posted on the property itself. To date, we received comments from the following organizations and agencies. Former drainage superintendent has noted that the subject lands are not within a drainage area of any municipal drain. As such, no further comments are required under the Drainage Act. Grace Savo Conservation Authority Risk Management Office provided comments noting that the property does not fall within a vulnerable source protection area, and therefore they don't have any comments on the application. The Grace Level Conservation Authority also provided comments noting that they have generally no objection to the proposed amendment, and if approved, a permit is not required from their office for the proposed multi-dwelling units. And Grey County also provided comments noting, Grey County did not provide comments as of March 13th. So following the public hearing, the next steps would be to provide a recommendation report coming back to council at a future council meeting.
Thank you. And no members of the public registered with the clerk to provide comments in support of or in opposition to the application. Does council have any questions regarding the proposed application? Seeing none, I now call for a vote to receive the public hearing report. The recommendation is that report DEV 2026-025 be received for information, and that council and public comments received at the public hearing be addressed in a future staff report for consideration. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Winters, Councillor McComb, is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And I will now call for an adjournment of this hearing. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor Coburn. I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. We are back to public presentations, which we have none. There are no delegations on agenda items or public inquiries. But for all of those, any person who wishes to make a presentation to council must register with the clerk at least 10 days in advance of the scheduled meeting. To register, you can complete the online delegation form at www.georgianbluffs.ca/delegations or call the clerk's office at 519-376-2729, extension 601. Moving on to consent agenda. Does any member wish to pull items from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I would like to pull 9.1.1, 9.1.3, and 9.2.2. So the recommendation on consent agenda is that Council of the Township of Georgian Bluffs adopt the consent agenda for information as circulated, less items 9.1.1, 9.1.3, and 9.2.2. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Coburn, Councillor McComb. Is there any discussion? All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. The 9.1.1 is about AORs with the Occupational Health and Safety Act it's regarding public works professionals and issues that some workers are having on the job with being confronted by members of the public. And I just think it would be a good idea. Our staff may not have faced anything like that yet, but it would be a nice idea to support the Township of Oro-Medonte on this. And if the rest of council agrees, I would call for a mover and seconder on this to support that. Councillor Coburn, Deputy Mayor Pringle. If there's no further comments or discussion, I'll call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Next item on 9.1.3. This is one where Cobble Beach, and in the past, the township has supported that with a donation of $500. They are asking for that again this year. They do a lot for the township for Canada Day. That means we don't have to do it. We get away with doing our event first thing in the morning, and they then provide the late day event. So I'm looking to council to see if we want to approve supporting them request for $500 I'll turn it to council for any comments or questions. Deputy Mayor Pringle?
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Yeah, no, I'm 100% behind this too. And I've been out to that event on the July 1st holiday, and it's beautiful surroundings, a great atmosphere, and it's there to use, and they're inviting us there to use their space. So I think it's good for us to support that.
Thank you. Councillor Winters?
If I may, I totally support it as well, but the word donation, we don't use the word donation anymore. And I know last year we did something else with it. How did we fund that last year? If we can, through you to staff. I think it was just taken out of one of the general ledger items as support, correct?
I think the clerk has that answer for us.
For you, yes, because council no longer has a donation policy or a donation line. I believe the $500 funding last year was funded from the special events budget line.
Okay, any further comments or questions? I will call for a mover and a seconder then. Councillor Coburn, Councillor McComb. If there's no further discussion, I will call the vote. All in favor? That's carried. And the next item is 9.2.2, a request for a comprehensive review of the provincial municipal fiscal framework, and just to support what Town of Whitby has put forward there as well. Asking that the funding that has been given for a period of time, that should be kept in place or increased even, and just asking for support if council agrees on that item as well. We'll turn to council for any discussion or questions. Councillor
If I may, I totally agree with that as well, but something tells me we've discussed this previously. Did this not come up late last fall or early this winter? I looked to staff on that, but I thought there was something that we've seen before. Because I think AMO maybe had a.
This one is directed through AMO.
Yeah.
I guess I was thinking the other one was OSIP funding. But
I think this was a hot topic last fall, if memory serves me right, and we may have already supported it, so I don't want to duplicate support doesn't hurt, but.
Sends a stronger message to the provincial government. Go ahead.
Mayor Carlton, for you, yes, council has previously expressed support for AMO's economic prosperity campaign.
Similar but different, yes.
Yeah, a little different. Any other comments? I will look to council then for a mover and seconder if you want to support that. Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor McComb. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Give me a minute to get on to where I'm supposed to be. Under reports, we have no information reports or reports for council consideration. And so the next is that council be recessed and hereby moves into committee of the whole. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Winters, Councillor McComb, all in favor? That is carried.
Yep.
Deputy Mayor.
All right, so on committee of the whole, we have 12.1.1, and it's council consideration of 12.1.1 DEV 2026-026 Z01/26 Tahirine and Brajardi zoning bylaw amendment. The recommendation as read is the council received staff report DEV 2026-026 and brackets says Z01-26 Tahirine and Brajardi zoning bylaw amendment for information, and that council not support the proposing bylaw amendment Z01-26 given concerns related to snow removal and snow storage impacts, servicing constraints, and parking constraints. Need a mover and a seconder on the floor. Council Winters, Councillor McComb, and I'm going to probably go to Michael for this.
Deputy Mayor. Bit of background. Mr. Teherani and Ms. Brajandi own a 0.02 hectares, so about 2,000 square foot parcel of land on the east side of Presqu'île Road backing onto Georgian Bay. The applicants propose to construct a two-story dwelling with an on-site septic system and municipal water connection on that parcel. Although the parcel has adequate frontage along Presqu'île Road to comply with the zoning bylaw, it's a very narrow lot with a maximum depth of only about plus or minus 16 meters. To accommodate the proposed dwelling, the applicants have applied to amend the township zoning bylaw to vary the minimum front yard setback from 7.5 meters to 2 meters, and to vary the minimum rear yard setback from 7.5 meters to 0.6 meters to allow for enough depth or width to develop a new parcel. They also want to vary the lot coverage from 20% to 25% for the shoreline residential zone. And to help support all of that, the applicants provided engineered grading and drainage plans, and architectural site plan and building elevations, a site servicing plan and details, and a brief planning justification report. Staff have done a fairly detailed review of this and have had dialogue back and forth with the applicant's architect. And when you go through the policies impacting this development, the development is generally supported by the provincial planning statement, it's called now. But that planning statement does require a servicing feasibility study to be undertaken because the lot is small and would have a private septic system. That sort of servicing feasibility study was not submitted with the application, and even though staff did have that discussion with the applicants, they said, well, or the architect had the sewage system designed and felt that that was adequate. The Grey County official plan designates the land's inland lakes and shoreline settlement area and hazard lands. So the settlement area policies for the Grey County OP apply. And they have a very similar to the provincial planning statement. They also require the servicing feasibility study be completed. And then the hazard land designation, when you look at the mapping, the hazard land has this band that kind of goes across the entire property, but does not show the shoreline as hazard land. So their policies defer back to the Conservation Authority regarding the delineation of hazard lands. And the Conservation Authority noted that the majority of the subject lands are outside of the hazard lands associated, or any hazards associated with the Georgian Bay shoreline, because there's quite a substantial chunk of shore road allowance between the subject lands and the bay itself. And that shore road allowance acts as a buffer for with a flooding and a lake wave uprush from Georgian Bay. So it kind of boils down to the zoning, and this is where several matters have been brought forward. As I mentioned earlier, the lot's quite narrow, so they're asking for substantial setbacks or relief in the setbacks for the front yard and the rear yard. The way the zoning is set up right now, the front yard and the rear yard have typically 10-meter setbacks. So, 7.5 meter setbacks, because it's partially serviced with municipal water nearby. So when the lot is only 16 meters wide, you're left with 1 meter to deal with those setbacks. The other thing that has been brought up quite a bit is, when you look at Section 6 of the zoning bylaw, the parking and loading standards, those standards are not able to be met on the lot the way it is being proposed, the way it's being configured. They do propose one parking space that would be on the south side of the building beam, built, but that parking space on itself does not meet the minimum requirements for parking stalls and also setbacks off of the roadway. So from a zoning perspective, there are some setback requirements that are difficult to meet. And not to get into all the, well, before I get into the consultation, one of the biggest concerns we have is on Presqu'île Road right there. The road itself is a fairly narrow road. There are no ditches along that side of the road where this property is. And if you're looking at only a 2-meter setback off of the road, because the road itself is kind of pushed into the east side of the road allowance. So there's not a lot of room between the front wall of the proposed dwelling and the pavement. And as we all know, our winter road conditions are bad, and there's a lot of snow being pushed around and stored along the roadways. And that would have, I believe, a severe impact on the proposed dwelling. We would be hitting the front of the dwelling with snow coming out the snow plows, and also it would be very difficult to get to the dwelling itself if you're going through snowbanks that are touching the front of the house. And those comments were reflected in our own operation department's concerns with the building itself. Through the public meeting that was held late last year, there was also a lot of comments coming from the residents and citizens in that area. To date, staff have received 15 written comments and 3 verbal comments from neighboring property owners. And additionally, a petition containing 80 signatures was also received. And generally speaking, those comments noted a number of matters. I noted that there are factual errors in the application for the amendment in the zoning bylaw. Basically, that they didn't recognize the needs to amend the parking provisions. They noted that the proposed amendments are not minor. The proposal, if implemented, represents hazards to pedestrian and vehicular traffic along Presqu'île Road. The proposed amendments conflict with the 2018 Grey County official plan in terms of the hazard land designations. The use may conflict with the original intentions of the Suter Treaty, I always say that wrong, my apologies, plan of subdivision. Previous building proposals for this property were denied by the township in the past, and that building proposal was actually for a proposed dwelling that would be on the shore road allowance, and that's why it was turned down by the township at the time. The setbacks do not address environmental concerns, wave and storm impacts from Georgian Bay, although the Conservation Authority said they were outside of those areas. The proposed setbacks impact snow storage and may cause traffic impacts. Proposed parking area does not comply with the zoning bylaw, and the narrow street provides issues with guest parking and traffic impacts. Based on all of the comments received and staff's own analysis of the zoning amendment, staff are finding it very, very difficult to support the application as proposed and are recommending that this application be denied.
Thank you, Michael, for that report. I can now open it up to council for questions, comments. Yep, Mayor Carlton.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just a question. It's something you said at the very beginning about the size of this lot being about 2,000 square feet.
Mhm.
So about 4 times the size of this room is the size of that lot to put a septic and a house and parking and everything else on. Yeah. I have to wrap my head around perspective sometimes.
Good comments. Any further comments? Yep. Councilor Comer.
Thank you through you, Chair Pringle. I appreciate the report. It's thoughtful. I think it helps us mitigate some risk. And given the issues that you've identified, I support the recommendation.
Thank you. Good comments. Any further comments? Okay, well, yes, as it is, we're to not support, that's what we're going to vote on, not supporting the recommendation that they proposed. So I will call the vote. All those in favor? That is carried. All right, we are on to 12.1.2 COR 2026-011 policy for inscription on memorial walls. Recommendation reads that the policy appended to this report, numbered CEM 2026-01, entitled Memorial Wall Policy, be approved, and that the staff be directed to present a bylaw for enactment of the policy to repeal bylaw 2018-034, Big Bay Memorial Wall Policy. Mover seconder to put it on the floor. Councilor Winters and Councilor Day. Carly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, I will turn it over to Sarah DeRosa, who takes care of our cemeteries.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
So the Memorial Wall Policy sets clear guidelines for how the Township of Georgian Bluffs manages inscriptions and plaques on memorial walls in our cemeteries. It outlines the information, what information can be included, the proper formatting and the application process through the clerk's office. The policy also prohibits scattering ashes, placing personal items, or attaching anything unauthorized near the walls, helping us maintain dignity and consistency across all sites. Ongoing care is supported through the care and maintenance fund to ensure that the wall remains in good condition. And once all spaces on a particular wall are used, that will be considered, that wall would be considered complete. And finally, the policy is designed to apply not just to our existing walls, but to also for easy integration of any future installations, providing one consistent approach across the township.
Great. Thank you. Questions or comments from council? Yep, Councilor Day.
Thank you. It's been very interesting learning more about cemeteries through this job, and I appreciate the report and the idea, and I generally support it. And I'm just curious, with the care and maintenance, thinking about cemeteries, headstones seem to be the personal responsibility of friends and family. But the columbarium and the memorial wall, 100, 200 years from now, will people need to clean the walls? Will we commit to ensuring the names are always readable over the long run?
Yes, I believe ongoing care would be supplied to those. That's what the care and maintenance fund goes towards. It's just upkeep and making sure that those inscriptions and, again, the dignity of the cemetery is consistent. Thank you.
Any further comments? I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor? That is carried. All right, 12.2, updates from members appointed to county council, committees, and local boards. Any members have any updates? Councilor Day.
I figured it might be worth talking a little bit about the Conservation Authority and some of the upcoming changes. Just a few minor things. So as most of you will know, the Conservation Authorities are under a proposed merger at the moment. 14,000 comments were submitted to the ERO, which is an unusually high number of comments. The GSCA staff used AI to classify those comments in support or against the merge, and 97.5 were opposed to the merge. The government says that they are listening and taking it slower and a more measured approach, but the timelines and largely the boundaries have not changed, although Superior has now been taken out of the Lake Huron proposed Lake Huron Conservation Authority. So a couple of things of note just for us to have in our frame of reference. The Source Water Protection Committee is still uncertain how the merge will affect them, so that will be something to watch going forward. And there was a little note that the 2027 budget for conservation authorities has been requested to be approved by December of 2026, which, as you'll note, is a very short time frame after the next municipal election. So.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mayor Crowell.
Thank you. This comes from Multi-Municipal Energy Working Group, and we met with Paul Vickers at his office on February 11th and asked at that meeting, or we were asked by Paul at that meeting to create a list of 3 priorities for him to look into with the provincial government. So we opted to take that back to the next meeting and determined at that meeting that the list should include setbacks that are outlined in Ontario Reg 305/99 regarding the increase in size for existing wind turbines which has more effect from some of the members in municipalities to the south of us than definitely for us. For him to look at ag lands and the percentage of land that can be used for on-farm diversified uses, and at the battery energy storage system units and the lack of guidelines still in place or not in place from the Ontario Fire Marshal. And in particular, what will the evacuation zone be in the event of fire, and what's the impact to humans and to animals in the event of a fire? So we're asking for that information for Mr. Vickers to explore that, and he will get back to us. At our most recent Long-Term Care Committee of Management meeting with the county, Lee Manor was chosen as one of 17 long-term care homes in the province to receive funding for improving dementia care. And that was based on Grey County's Color It Your Way program and the Color It Promise philosophies, which align with what the province is putting out for as successful practices. The successful practices that come out of this study will be shared with all 3 long-term care homes in the county. And just by chance, when the announcement was made, MPP Paul Vickers and the parliamentary assistant that were there that day were able to spend time at Sydenham campus, where long-term care staff were training for the program that day. And mention was also made at that Long-Term Care Committee of Management meeting about the financial incentives for nurses who commit to working in long-term care for 24 months. There's a program called Jumpstart Opportunities in Nursing and Long-Term Care, or JOIN LTC. And I have to say, long-term care has more acronyms used than any other committee I've ever sat on. And Rockwood Terrace at this point is about 55% complete. At our last Planning and Economic Development Advisory Committee meeting and at Grey County Council, there was a report about the Green Development Plan that is to be specific to Grey County, but it's being created together with Dufferin and Wellington counties. There are already 2 developers in the Grey Bruce area who are interested in participating, including Habitat Grey Bruce. The plan will include 18 voluntary metrics that will allow developers to choose the metrics they want using a point system and set up these metrics that they want to incorporate into their plan. And that could include items such as native plantings. The funds to help with the creation of these plans have come from NRCan, total of $445,000. And to date, there have been 2 public workshops, 3 industry sessions, as well as municipal engagement. There will be a dedicated program developer courtesy of the funding received, and there are proposed to be over 14,000 new builds in this area over the next 10 years. So the program will provide energy savings is one of the things that's hope will come out of that. As houses are being built, that there will be energy savings going years forward. And there's an advisory group of county and municipal economic development staff working together to have input about the implementation of the program, which will not launch later this spring. And they will then be talking to each municipality to find out how each one wants to be involved. And for more information on that, go to grey.ca/green-development. The urban and rural road transfers that we had a delegation here recently. When this got to County Council, it was referred back to the task force for further study. There were a lot of questions raised by some of the lower tiers and at County Council that need more information before it's brought back to County Council for implementation and possibly implemented in stages then instead of one huge group thing. And last Friday, I attended a community leaders breakfast that was hosted by Bruce Power down the other side of Kincardine. James Stoniak spoke about the need for energy security, the value of medical isotopes, and the agreement that is in place with SON. He also mentioned a capacity fund that is being created for Grey Bruce Huron counties to help with development needs related to the future build at Bruce C. So I made contact with the person who is charged with creating the details of what the eligible items within the fund will be. And I found out that it will be an application process, and that once the details are worked out, the CAO and I can sit down, have a meeting, and find out how and if Georgian Bluffs might fit into this. And if there's something comes out of that, then we'll bring a report back to council, but I have no idea of the timeline on when that may happen. And that is everything I have for this week.
Thank you for that update. Any other councillors with updates? All right, not seeing any. I will, we'll head back to the council side of things here. So the committee of the whole meeting be adjourned at 5:35 p.m. and resume at 5:35 p.m. Need a mover and a second to put on the floor. Councillor Day. Councillor McComb, call the vote. All those in favor? That is carried. We are back to the council meeting.
Thank you. No zoning bylaws, other bylaws. The Team Gray Memorandum of Understanding recommendation, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a Team Gray Memorandum of Understanding between the Corporation of the Township of Georgian Bluffs and the Corporation of the County of Gray. That bylaw 2026-019 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a Team Gray Memorandum of Understanding. I think we've got that in here twice. That it be read a first, second, and third time, finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Day, Councillor McComb, is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? It's carried. And the next item is the radio communication and broadcasting antenna systems procedure. The recommendation is that bylaw 2026-018, being a bylaw to adopt a radio communication and broadcasting antenna systems procedure bylaw for the Township of Georgian Bluffs, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor Winters, is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? That's carried. We have no unfinished business. New business, snow drifting and road maintenance, and this is further to notice by Deputy Mayor Grant Pringle. Do you want to read your recommendation in this?
I can. I got it right here.
Perfect.
So whereas the Township of Georgian Bluffs has heard concerns from residents about snow clearing due to drifting conditions in various areas of the township, and whereas the township deems it necessary to ensure safety of its residents on its maintained roads, therefore that the staff be directed to investigate area of the township that require additional snow remediation between routes based on complaints received, and that staff be directed to bring forward a report identifying these areas and include the availability of solutions to manage snow, including but not limited to living snow fences and daytime staff deployment. So yeah, 2 minutes.
Thank you. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's all right.
It's not back to you. I need
Okay.
to ask for a mover and seconder before you can talk to it. Councillor Colburn, Councillor Day, go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, no, it's just really, it's about, in my mind, doing the right thing for the taxpayers. And we can't treat every road the same in every part of our township. And we do have areas that do, have different scenarios of snow drifting or flooding or whatever that scenario be. And I think we really do need to look at these individually when they do come up and come up with a plan. If we do nothing, we'll always be the bad guy. So if we do something and at least look into it and see how we can fix these situations individually, then I think we need to look at it. And I know the staff does have a list there now of what we have had from this winter on the snow side of things. And I just think it's us doing our due diligence to do the right thing for the taxpayer.
Any other comments or questions on this one?
I
Councillor
would just suggest that we, so I think it was Thorsten Arnold who presented to us that sort of precipitated this. First of all, I completely agree. But I think that we should, I know that it will be public information anyway, but we should reach out to him and share with him whatever we learn, because he was super interested in collecting more information so that he, I think himself, and like so many of our residents want to help out in some way. And I think it would be sensible to reach out to him and get that information.
Sounds good to me.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Next item is about tile drainage, and this is brought forward by Councillor Coburn. Do you want to read your motion there?
I can, thank you, Mayor. Carlton, it's much less impressive than Deputy Mayor Pringle.
No credit here.
I was recommending that staff be directed to investigate a tile drainage program and associated bylaw for implementation in our township.
Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Day and Councillor McComb. Councillor Coburn, do you wish to speak further to this?
I can. I by no means consider myself to be an expert in drainage. So if this is a bad idea, I'm quite happy to hear about it. But given the fact that staff will be doing some work on a municipal drain potential, I wonder if this sort of goes hand in hand with that. Typically, these kinds of things are grounded, I suppose, in the Drainage Act, but a lot of municipalities, especially those with a rural or agricultural component, develop bylaws that refine sort of the local rules set out by the Drainage Act. And some of that involves an approval process and a permit process for tile drainage. It's meant to protect our agricultural businesses, but it's also meant to ensure that the proper outlets and discharge are not impacting our infrastructure and neighboring properties at the same time. So I would hope that if there's a need for it, and we won't know that until our staff do that work for us, we could strike a balance between promoting good agricultural practice and protecting our drainage infrastructure.
Thank you for that. Councillor Day.
I would just add that there's a lot of good information out there already regarding tile drainage and its benefit to farmers, as well as ways of preventing nutrient runoff into surrounding habitats. I know BPEG on the North Bruce Peninsula has done some work around filtration of tile drainage to try and get the phosphate out of the water. So there's information out there that shouldn't be hard to find.
Sorry, I was just going to add to Councillor Day's comment that should staff recommend going ahead with that type of bylaw, we wouldn't need to reinvent the wheel, as Councillor Day says. I think there are templates out there, and I believe even OMAFRA offers up some of those templates.
No, I think it's a great initiative, just with the fact of the way farming's changing. We're getting bigger farmers and less fence rows, less tree lines to help swell up the water and stuff. And if your tile drain into a ditch and we don't have a ditch there, then we've got a problem. So it'd be nice if we could be on the other side of it and not be the problem at the end of the day. And then look forward, project down the road, things are changing. So I think it's a great initiative to look into.
I do agree, and it seems to me from my time on Grey Sauble that there was something about tile drainage and going into drainage systems as well. So we might want to reach out to staff there and see what they've got as well. So if there's no further comments, I will call the vote. All in favor? It is carried. Does any member wish to provide a notice of motion or notice of discussion for inclusion on the next council agenda? Seeing nothing, we are going into closed session then. The recommendation is that Council of the Township of Georgian Bluffs move into closed session at 5:43 p.m. in the Sarawak room with the Chief Administrative Officer, Director of Development and Infrastructure, Deputy CAO/Director of Corporate Services, and Manager of Legislative Services/Clerk remaining in the room to discuss 17.1 litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, open meeting exemption E of Section 239, subsection 2 of the Municipal Act 2001, OLT update. And 17.2, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, open meeting exception B of Section 239, subsection 2 of the Municipal Act 2001, CAO performance management evaluation/goals and objectives. Could I have a mover and a seconder to go into closed session? Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor McComb, all in favor? That is carried. We are now in closed session.
Georgian Bluff has a lot of activities to do. It's really nature driven, and it's like the community is very nice, very friendly. and a lot of the locals come here every single day and they think of it as their therapy.
We're the Farouk family. We started farm on the lake, and the community, everybody around it, the support structure, the township has actually made us to who we are today. And now that we have this set up, this whole operation is well received by the community. People drive down from far, far away to do camping, glamping with us.
A lot of people come from far away to see the goats and they're really amazed. Sometimes we feed the babies in front of them.
When we think about Georgian Bluffs, it's really the Reiki forest bathing that comes to my mind. I'm a Reiki master teacher, and we were looking to bring our people for a retreat, and this property just popped up, and we realized that behind is a beautiful forest. Every time we are driving up, I feel so relaxed. The air is amazing.
If you're an outdoor enthusiast, there's never-ending things to do. There's the hiking all over through the escarpment. There's the bay, the water, if you're into water sports or sailing. And of course, pickleball is growing fast and it's all over the place right now. So there's lots to do.
What we enjoy the most about Georgian Bluff is having access to the beautiful nature around us, the cultural impact from the First Nations to the local artists.
The trails and so many great things to do, and lots of business opportunity here, and tourism as well to support our business.
First off, what I love about the area is the scenery. It's absolutely beautiful. Like, it's right in the name of the municipality, the Bluffs. Another thing too that I noticed from living through here is all the small communities throughout Georgian Bluffs. They're very unique and they might be very small, but we're very big with heart. Everybody looks out for each other, takes care of each other, and just the way locals support locals. So the ability to have a local business and prosper is very apparent here in Georgian Bluffs.
People are more genuine here. People are more sincere. They're kind. They know the word please and thank you. It's the way life used to be. It's more simpler. You feel like you're part of something.
The Township of Georgian Bluffs as a municipality is proud to serve its residents, whether it be looking after infrastructure, looking after our roads, grading our gravel roads, looking after our parks, our trails, our community centres, our ice arena, or providing the services that residents rely on every single day when they come to our township offices. I'm proud to lead a team which is here serving the residents of Georgian Bluffs every single day.
What we'd like to see Georgian Bluffs going forward is really, more people coming to experience this beautiful energy, this relaxed energy. Because over here in Georgian Bluffs, I can hear the wind, I can hear the trees talking. It's just amazingly relaxing.
Welcoming more people, yet with the same foundation and principles of community, of respect, and of morals.
It would be great for Georgian Bluffs to continue to support, nature and the beauty that we have here, and to keep our area clean and beautiful.
I hope to see more local businesses, more sustainable living, and more families just moving up here and living and prospering off their land and their property.
For me and my family, Georgian Bluffs means being close to nature, having the escarpment to hike and the water of Georgian Bay at our doorstep is something that draws us to being part of this community. The family-friendly neighbourhoods, the fact I can connect with my neighbours and see them on the street and say hello, and I know the people I'm seeing each day, is something which for me is something I treasure and my family treasures about being in Georgian Bluffs.
We are Dirk and Alma DeVries, and we are coming to you from Dual Acres. This is a beautiful property in Georgian Bluffs that we own, and we run horse-drawn sleigh and carriage rides from.
So today we're going to have Dan and Juliet. Dan's a 12-year-old gelding, and Juliet's a 12-year-old mare. Come on, Dan. When people come here, we invite them to come back to our shack. And they will go in there and they can get ready to go, get dressed, whatever they need to do, and stay warm until the ride event starts. And then we bring the horses out of this sleigh shed here, and they get on, and we take them roughly for a 40-minute ride, all through hardwood and softwood bush. So the whole experience is in woods. We return here, we drop them off here. They can go in, there's a big wood stove in there, they warm up, and if they so desire, they could also enjoy a cup of hot chocolate. We build all our own sleighs, and the reason for that is sleighs in Ontario came with a width, a stance, the runner width of 3 feet, and that was designed to work in the bush and whatnot. But a 3-foot stance is very tippy when you get people. People are like hauling water. There's always a second motion. And that second motion is the motion that will tip the sleighs. So I rebuild all the sleighs to a 4-foot wide stance. And that's very stable. There's no, you cannot tip them. Our sleighs are also adaptable to handle wheelchairs, which we discovered early this. You know, there was that need there, that people, disabilities need that we needed to provide.
We've done lots of charity work. We did a Santa sleigh ride here on the farm. That actually helped really for people to be aware that we were here. But we always have a passion, especially for children with special needs. That was one way that we were able to give back to the community. Every year we host a ride here for the GRACE program, which is the Georgian Riding Association for Challenged Equestrians.
Horses and dog sleds are exactly the same. If you want the horse or the dogs to go right, you say gee. If you want them to go left, you say haw. I've done thousands of rides and I never get tired of it because it's the horses that are the enjoyment. And the people are, you know, we have people from all over and there's so many different stories and so many good people out there that you meet.
I hope that when people come to our farm here and enjoy a sleigh or wagon ride through the bush, that they enjoy the bush, the beauty of nature here, and just go away feeling relaxed and rejuvenated.
The Welcome Package is a tool that was developed by GB-LIP's subcommittee community. It was a tool that was supposed to be used for municipalities to share information with new residents, specifically immigrants coming to their communities, in a consistent way across Grey and Bruce counties. And what's great about it is the package was actually translated into multiple different languages.
As my own personal lived experience as an immigrant, not everything was accessible to me with a click of my hand. But the Welcome Package, if you look up the municipality website, all the information that you need about the schools, about the local hospitals, about the local grocery stores, about the settlement service provider in your area. So I think it is a one-stop shop for all your settlement needs.
Georgian Bluff has a lot of activities to do. It's really nature driven and it's like the community is very nice, very friendly.
We started a farm on the lake and the community, everybody around it, the support structure, the township has actually made us to who we are today.
Every time we are driving up, I feel so relaxed. The air is amazing. I can hear the wind, I can hear the trees talking. It's just amazingly relaxing.
If you're an outdoor enthusiast, there's never-ending things to do. There's the hiking all over through the escarpment. There's the bay, the water, if you're into water sports or sailing. Of course, pickleball is growing fast and it's all over the place right now. So there's lots to do.
What we enjoy the most about Georgian Bluff is having access to the beautiful nature around us, the cultural impact from the First Nations to the local artists.
First off, what I love about the area is the scenery. It's absolutely beautiful. Like, it's right in the name of the municipality, the Bluffs. Everybody looks out for each other, takes care of each other, and just the way locals support locals. So the ability to have a local business and prosper is very apparent here in Georgian Bluffs.
People are more genuine here. People are more sincere. They're kind. They know the word please and thank you. It's the way life used to be. It's more simpler. You feel like you're part of something.
It would be great for Georgian Bluffs to continue to support, nature and the beauty that we have here, and to keep our area clean and beautiful.
For me and my family, Georgian Bluffs means being close to nature. Having the escarpment to hike and the water of Georgian Bay at our doorstep is something that draws us to being part of this community. The family-friendly neighbourhoods, the fact I can connect with my neighbours and see them on the street, say hello, and I know the people I'm seeing each day is something which for me is something I treasure and my family treasures about being in Georgian Bluffs.
Georgian Bluff has a lot of activities to do. It's really nature driven, and it's like the community is very nice, very friendly. And a lot of the locals come here every single day and they think of it as their therapy.
We're the Fruit family. We started a farm on the lake, and the community, everybody around it, the support structure, the township has actually made us to who we are today. And now that we have this set up, this whole operation is well received by the community. People drive down from far, far away to do camping, glamping with us.
A lot of people come from far away to see the goats, and they're really amazed. Sometimes we feed the babies in front of them.
When we think about Georgian Bluffs, it's really the Reiki forest bathing that comes to my mind. I'm a Reiki master teacher, and we were looking to bring our people for a retreat, and this property just popped up, and we realized that behind is a beautiful forest. Every time we are driving up, I feel so relaxed. The air is amazing.
If you're an outdoor enthusiast, there's never-ending things to do. There's the hiking all over through the escarpment. There's the bay, the water, if you're into water sports or sailing. And of course, pickleball is growing fast and it's all over the place right now. So there's lots to do.
What we enjoy the most about Georgian Bluff is having access to the beautiful nature around us, the cultural impact from the First Nations to the local artists,
the trails, and so many great things to do, and lots of business opportunity here, and tourism as well to support our business.
First off, what I love about the area is the scenery. It's absolutely beautiful. Like, it's right in the name of the municipality, the Bluffs. Another thing too that I noticed from living through here is all the small communities throughout Georgian Bluffs. They're very unique, and they might be very small, but we're very big with heart. Everybody looks out for each other, takes care of each other, and just the way locals support locals. So the ability to have a local business and prosper is very apparent here in Georgian Bluffs.
People are more genuine here. People are more sincere. They're kind. They know the word please and thank you. It's the way life used to be. It's more simpler. You feel like you're part of something.
The Township of Georgian Bluffs as a municipality is proud to serve its residents, whether it be looking after infrastructure, looking after our roads, grading our gravel roads, looking after our parks, our trails, our community centres, our ice arena, or providing the services that residents rely on every single day when they come to our township offices. I'm proud to lead a team which is here serving the residents of Georgian Bluffs every single day.
What we'd like to see Georgian Bluffs going forward is really, more people come in to experience this beautiful energy, this relaxed energy. Because over here in Georgian Bluffs, I can hear the wind, I can hear the trees talking. It's just amazingly relaxing.
Welcoming more people, yet with the same foundation and principles of community, of respect, and of moral.
It would be great for Georgian Bluffs to continue to support, nature and the beauty that we have here, and to keep our area clean and beautiful.
I hope to see more local businesses, more sustainable living, and more families just moving up here and living and prospering off their land and their property.
For me and my family, Georgian Bluffs means being close to nature, having the escarpment to hike and the water of Georgian Bay at our doorstep is something that draws us to being part of this community. The family-friendly neighbourhoods, the fact I can connect with my neighbours and see them on the street and say hello, and I know the people I'm seeing each day, is something which for me is something I treasure and my family treasures about being in Georgian Bluffs.
We are back in open session, and I would note that council went into closed session under open meeting exemption E and B of section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001. As a result of closed session discussions, the following actions were taken. 17.1, an OLT update was provided. 17.2, CAO performance management evaluation / goals and objectives was conducted. And now for a confirming bylaw, the recommendation is that bylaw number 2026-020, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council on April 1st, 2026, be read a first, second, and third time, finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk. sealed with the seal of the corporation and engrossed in the bylaw book. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor McComb, Councillor Winters. If there's no discussion, I'll call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Council will meet as regularly scheduled on April 15th, 2026 at 5 p.m. If there's no further business, I will now call for adjournment of this meeting. Recommendation is that the meeting be adjourned at 6:17 p.m. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor McComb, all in favor? It's carried. Thank you.